This year, Coney Island is about more than just fun and games. There are jobs, too.
Stop and frisk. The protests mount, we have team coverage.
Going one-on-one with Iron Mike. All that and more coming up.
Welcome to Brooklyn College News. I'm Christina Alexis.
I'm Norhan Khalid.
And I'm Melanie Montalvo. New York City's stop and frisk policy is under fire. Many call it racial profiling.
If you're a Black or Latino man, there's a 33% chance police will stop and frisk you, according to the Center for Constitutional Rights.
And recently, thousands took to the streets of Manhattan to protest the policy. Joni Watts was there.
They marched down Fifth Avenue in silence to protest the stop and frisk policy. Thousands made their way from 110th Street to 79th Street.
This is affecting everybody, our children, our parents. As we go back home, sometimes there's children out with tears in their eyes because they don't know what they were stopped for.
Profiling just isn't a problem here in New York, it's a problem all over America.
Attorney Benjamin Crump represents the family of Trayvon Martin, the young Florida man shot and killed by a neighborhood watch volunteer.
We believe Trayvon Martin would not be dead today if he would not have been profiled.
Activists now lump together the Trayvon Martin case, the shooting death of Ramarley Graham, chased into his apartment by an NYPD police officer last April, and other incidents.
The only thing that connects these people is their color. 90% of them are innocent. It's a massive racial profiling program. It's not making the city safer, but what's more is that we actually know how to make our city safer without violating civil and human rights.
Derek Perkinson says he was stopped and frisked.
It's very embarrassing to be frisked and your pockets searched through and your whole body touched upon.
The Reverend Al Sharpton, now a TV personality, says police need to listen to the people.
If police were as disciplined as what most of these marches have shown, we would have better police-community relations.
Blacks and Latinos want to see change, but there's no indication from City Hall or One Police Plaza that anything will change soon. This is Joni Watts reporting for Brooklyn College News.
In many neighborhoods, stop and frisk seems like a routine police action. Diego Morello continues our team coverage.
Lincoln Hooper says he was a taxi passenger when the police stopped the cab and searched him.
I felt humiliated because I had to take my boots off in the snow. I was like freezing. Everybody's looking at me. They're looking at me like I did something wrong. I felt like a criminal.
That's the story we hear from many Black and Latino men. This home video was posted on the All Things Harlem website. 686,000 were stopped last year. 84% were Black and Latino. Only 6% were arrested. For those stopped, it's humiliating.
Made me feel bad, crazy, you know, like violated my rights.
Stop and frisk began in 1968. The point was to get guns off the street, but police stepped up the policy in recent years, and Black and Latinos feel it's racial profiling. Some say police admit they stopped without having a good cause.
They told me, you don't have nothing on you, but we have to stop and frisk you.
We found more horror stories on the YouTube channel, posted by the Police Reform Organizing Project.
We just know they're gonna violate us.
I was brutalized.
Police sources sent me this photo of a gun they say they recovered at a recent stop, and Mayor Bloomberg says that's the point. He shot down a question about ending stop and frisk.
Why not end it and go and have double and triple and quadruple the murder rate? We just finished the first 6 months with the lowest murder rate in the history of the city. We're at 18 or 19% below last year and the year before. Do you really want to go back to that?
But the protests are likely to continue. Many are upset and angry and want change. Reporting from Flatbush, Diego Morello, Brooklyn College News.
On the jobs front, the unemployment rate for veterans is high. Nationally, it's 24% for 18 to 24-year-olds.
Things may be picking up for some, but Black New Yorkers still struggle. The Federal Labor Department found that more than half of the city's Black residents are unemployed, and on average spend a year looking for work. Now there is a place right here in Brooklyn that's hiring. It's also a place filled with fun. Michelino Bracera reports.
Coney Island is legendary. People from all over the world come to visit, walk the boardwalk, and enjoy the ride. Just last year, 640,000 visitors enjoyed over 2 million rides.
I'd known about Coney Island for a long time, and I've wanted to go since like 5th grade or something. And since we're from out of town, we're like, hey, let's go to Coney Island.
The Wonder Wheel in 1879 was the first ride to attract tourists. The Cyclone and other rides followed. But in the 1970s, crime and neglect changed Coney Island, and tourists stayed away. In 2010, the city contributes $6.6 million, and Central Amusement International invested $30 million for the redevelopment of Luna Park.
I think by remodeling it, they're doing it to attract more people. They've developed better rides, you know, and it has increased the jobs.
With a 9.7 unemployment rate in New York City, every job counts. So far, Luna Park has hired 450 people and plans to add at least 50 more.
I encourage anyone to check the website to see what's open because we're always looking for good helpers.
One of Luna Park's investors, Central Amusement International, put another $5 million into Scream Zone. You suit up, and then you literally fly through the air. Get a great look at the boardwalk, the beach, and everything else.
This is cool. This is the next thing after bungee jumping, really.
Luna Park plans to give visitors even more to do by next summer.
We're also going to be adding a three-point game and fingers crossed a restaurant.
I like it now because it's like more, it's almost sort of like a theme park, like how you would see at Six Flags.
Locals also like the changes.
I think this is a revitalization is nice to see. It's good to keep part of the old Coney Island that everyone kind of knew and came down to visit.
With new rides being added, more jobs are in demand in the Coney Island area. Luna Park invites residents and visitors to come and enjoy the excitement this summer. From Coney Island, Michelina Bracero, Brooklyn College News.
It's important to stay cool as the temperature rises. If you can't make it to Coney Island or the beach, we have some tips to beat the heat. If your home isn't air-conditioned, try a New York City cooling center. Call 311 to find the nearest one. Health experts say drink plenty of water or fruit juice. Avoid caffeinated beverages. Sunscreen is also important if you are out in the sun. No matter what your skin color, go for the high SPF.
We'll be back with more, so don't go away. College students need to save money, and our frugal student tells you how.
Mike Tyson and Spike Lee team up in a new arena. We've got that story and more coming up.
If you teach me music. If you teach me music, I'll be in a band, not a game. I'll be better at math, reading, and my SAT. It's a fact. When you teach us music, our math, reading, and problem-solving skills improve dramatically. Our music programs are in trouble.
The need to develop creative minds is as important today as it was when VH1 Save the Music was founded in 1997. Go to vh1savethemusic.com and help us continue to change lives.
With music education, our future sounds a lot better.
When we walk together, we are bigger than cancer. Join the world's biggest fight for more birthdays, the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. Find your community's event at relayforlife.org.
Welcome back. It may be tough for Black and Hispanic students to find a slot at a city university senior college. A new report found they are losing out because more white and Asian students are applying and getting in. Mustafa Alatalewa reports.
What is the mission of CUNY?
What is the mission of CUNY? That's a big question. Some think the City University of New York is changing its mission.
Is it to become an elite school and only give degrees to a certain demographic of people? Or is it to be a university or a college that gives people an opportunity?
Opportunities for African American and Latino students may be shrinking at CUNY's four-year schools. And that's because more white students with higher SAT scores began to apply in large numbers since the recession began in 2008. A study by the Community Service Society highlights the problem.
CUNY's four-year colleges are really, white, majority white and Asian, and Blacks and Latinos have sort of been pushed down into the community colleges where outcomes generally aren't, as good as they are if they started off in a four-year college.
CUNY senior colleges, like Brooklyn, require over 1,000 on SAT scores and at least an 81% high school grade point average. Some say that shuts out students who excel in other ways.
GPA and your SAT is just a number. You don't really get to know the student for who they really are or what they could succeed in or what they could really do.
There's people that, they're smart, but they're not going to score a 16 or 1,500 on an SAT.
A statement from CUNY says African American and Latino enrollment is up, not down, and more Black and Latino students are graduating from the CUNY colleges. Brooklyn College is the leader in this area nationally. But the bottom line appears to be that if your SAT scores and GPA don't hit the high marks, it's likely you'll begin your CUNY career at one of the community colleges. If you work hard, you can end up like my fellow students at a CUNY senior college. Mustafa Olatsilewa, Brooklyn College News.
Most college students, wherever they go to school, need and want to save money. Our frugal student, Fatima Kadir, investigates how to pinch those pennies.
We struggle with expenses, tuition, textbooks, and transportation, but I always look for a way to save, and here are a few of my favorite tips.
I get discounts in various places I go.
You can get student discounts in a lot of places. Some banks offer free checking accounts to get you to sign up, but that's a good deal for you. You can save up to $15 a month.
I think it's really great that banks give free checking to students, and it helps us develop our credit and become better bank customers in the future.
Some cell phone providers also offer student deals, as much as up to 15% off your monthly bill. And software can be hundreds of dollars. But more universities offer students free antivirus and tax preparation to help ease their financial burdens. So find out if your school offers them too.
My college is free antivirus on my computer, and it helps me a lot. I mean, I don't have to pay a monthly antivirus or a quarterly antivirus.
Textbooks cost a lot of money. You might pay $200 or more just for one. In a college bookstore, this book, called First Course in Differential Equations, costs $218. Online, it's $153. The used version online starts a little over $41. Or renting from an online source instead of your college bookstore, you can save up to 40%.
Renting books is definitely a good idea, and I would recommend it for every student.
After the semester, sell your textbooks. Most college bookstores pay about 20%. Websites like Amazon and Check.com pay even more. Even though you're a college student during a recession, you can still make the most of your money. A little research and small changes in how you do things can also turn you into a frugal student.
Thanks, Fatima. That's all good information. And here's something else that's surprisingly good: gossip. That's right, gossip encourages cooperation. Psychologists at the University of California at Berkeley found spreading rumors about people actually helps us avoid conflict. But it's only if those rumors are true.
People aren't saying nice things about Mayor Bloomberg's plan to ban oversized sugary drinks, and that's not gossip. Dan Thorne checks it out.
This is what the mayor wants to ban, drinks that are 21 ounces and up. But this plan to ban upsets some New Yorkers who say this idea goes too far.
You can't buy a 32-ounce drink. You let people buy whatever they want.
The mayor's proposed ban on supersized drinks sold in restaurants, in movie theaters, and by vendors is a part of the fight to combat obesity. But shrinking the size of soda raises questions about stepping into people's personal lives.
Everything this man does, he wants to have his nose in everything.
A Rasmussen poll shows 65% oppose the ban. An ad featuring the mayor as a nanny ran in the New York Times on June 2nd and jumped to Facebook. The mayor says business lobbyists are behind the objections.
Just plain and simple, a bunch of people that don't care about the health of the people who live here in this country, in this world, and here. And that's what our job is to worry about that, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
And some agree that it's good for the government to tell them what to do.
I do feel like it's an attempt to make people healthier.
The mayor has supporters, even from politicians who don't usually agree with his policy.
This modest proposal to make it a little harder for kids to drink 32, 64, 80 ounce of Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I think is smart.
But other politicians like Congressman Bob Turner disagree with the ban.
I don't think I'm ready to relinquish my diet to city control. I'd rather he do some other positive educational things on diet and let people make the decisions for themselves.
The City Board of Health is expecting to hold a series of public hearings during a 90-day comment period. A formal vote on the measure is set to take place on September the 13th. Reporting in Flatbush, Dan Thorne, Brooklyn College News.
If it's approved, the ban will go into effect in 2013. We've got a lot more for you. Stay with us.
To play surprise, join us for a culinary adventure.
driving crash follows you. Mad Victim Services. We help survivors survive.
Welcome back. Former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson takes on a new role with Spike Lee directing, and Daisha Bryan reports.
The world-renowned director debuts his first Broadway show with former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. But what should we expect?
It's about me being on stage and being pretty raw, not necessarily raw in a vulgar sense.
Mike Tyson shadowboxed with director Spike Lee, hugged his wife, and was candid with reporters.
When we first decided to do this show, we didn't know how we were going to come from. You know, my wife wrote the first guideline, and I wasn't going to come from no didactic perspective or anything. I was just going to come from who I am and what I was, raw.
Tyson, Lee, and producer James Nederlander took over the stage at the Long Acre Theater to talk about Tyson's one-man show, Undisputed Truth.
I'm just naked and I'm very vulnerable, and I'm just telling you who I am and where I'm from and how this happened and how I lose all this damn money.
The show takes a look at Tyson's success, darkest days, and his road to redemption. Director Spike Lee brought the play to Broadway after seeing a video of Tyson performing in Las Vegas.
We're not doing Shakespeare. This is something totally different. You know, he's sharing his story with the world. I know I might be repeating myself, but I think he's one of the most, has had one of the most compelling lives of anybody. I'm not just talking about the sports world either.
But does the public still care about Mike Tyson? Is he still relevant?
I'm really a fan of Mike Tyson. He's one of the greatest boxers alive right now.
I used to be a fan, not anymore.
This is just what me and my wife wanted to do. This is how we're going to live our life on this type of level, just keeping it moving and just try to do positive things and raise a family.
It's interesting to see Mike Tyson in his new role. The show will run for 6 days only, starting July 31st to August 5th. And Daisha Bryan, Brooklyn College News.
There's also a new role for Brooklyn College professor Brian Dunphy. He's made Comedy Central the center of his lectures. First, it was South Park, and now it's Jon Stewart's The Daily Show. Christina Rivera reports.
I don't consider myself a celebrity professor at all. I just consider myself a professor.
But Brian Dunphy is a celebrity of sorts. He's a popular mass media lecturer at Brooklyn College.
They don't feel like lectures. They actually feel like it's a friend talking to you.
When Comedy Central heard that he uses South Park to examine pop culture, they recruited him to lecture in Europe.
Turns to the crowd, turns to the camera and says, "Mr. President, this is not working."
I think that they saw that I'm able to bring a personal touch, but also a academic touch to it. And I think that's also why my students connect to it.
Now here at Brooklyn College, Professor Dunphy is practicing a new lecture about Jon Stewart's The Daily Show. He'll take this show to Europe as well.
I start my mornings every day with Jon Stewart. Cup of coffee, breakfast, it's Jon Stewart and the Colbert Report. That's my morning routine. I get my news from them.
And then he puts on his professor's hat and figures out what he means to us all.
I enjoy looking at it and going crazy over what's happening or trying to figure out what they're saying.
Which certainly works for students.
I know he's always incorporated different shows and different satirical media into his lectures, and you start to see things differently.
Professor Dunphy does admit that he doesn't always watch TV as a critic. Sometimes he's just like the rest of us, sits back and enjoys it. I'm Christina Rivera, Brooklyn College News.
Some classes offer more than a lecture. They give you a hands-on learning experience. Virgilia S. found a class with a taste of her home country.
I love French food, and I like to introduce people to my culture. So when I learned about Miette Culinary Studio in the village, I jumped at the opportunity to take a class and invite you. Bon appétit!
I think that I bring a lot of technique to the people.
But Chef Paul Vanderwood of Miette Culinary Studio also brings a sense of joy. The atmosphere is so relaxed and fun that it could be your friend's apartment.
Really fabulous.
The class is in an intimate, cozy kitchen in a Greenwich Village townhouse. There is room for 12 students.
I could have never figured it out from a book.
Each week, the class prepares a different recipe. I participated in the soufflé class. I thought that because I'm French, I would jump to the top of the class. Some came with their partner, others with family or friends. And I didn't come by myself. One of my old friends from Paris joined me to cook. But of course, Chef Paul supervised us with good advice and tips.
Love and passion, that's what I always say to all my clients. If you do it with love and passion, it's going to be great.
We split into 3 teams of 4 students. Each team had to prepare a cheddar and parmesan soufflé, a chocolate soufflé, and a couple was in charge of the raspberry soufflé. Fresh ingredients, of course. This is the first group's cheddar and parmesan soufflé.
The chef did a really great job of explaining everything, so I think it was pretty easy to follow along.
And now, this is our soufflé. But even if it doesn't look perfect, trust me, it still tasted like heaven, thanks to the help of Chef Paul.
Chef Paul was really nice because he helped us out each step of the way. So sometimes we would, mess up the egg whites and he would come over and explain exactly what we did wrong.
Great people and magnificent food, and the chef was wonderful.
Even though I'm French, I wasn't the best. My soufflé did taste good though. Chef Paul gave us a packet of recipes and I will try again at home. If you want to take a French cooking class with Chef Paul, go to mietculinarystudio.com.
Thanks, Virgilia. Now to the drama in the Jets camp. Who's gonna start? Is Tebow or Sanchez at the helm? And there's more going on. Namik Revnov is here to fill us in. Namik?
It's a toss-up between Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez. Tebow's celebrity gets him lots of attention, but we still don't know whether that will bump Sanchez from the quarterback slot. And then, cornerback Darrelle Revis needs an intervention. He says he's not coming back to camp unless he gets a new big payday. He still has 2 years left on a $46 million contract, so we'll wait and watch. Just more pain for Jet fans.
Thanks, Namik. There was no drama, just a lot of cool people in Times Square, and they all brought their yoga mats. Renee Askew was there.
It's hectic here in Times Square, and yet a few feet away, about 9,000 yoga lovers try to find tranquility. Athleta organized the event. People put out their mats as early as 7:30 in the morning.
You could feel like the cars going past and hear sirens, but then you could hear the instructor's voice and you just kind of block it out.
Great experience. I mean, how often can you say you did yoga in the middle of Times Square?
Yoga instructors came from all styles. Rajashri Chowdhury is a Bikram yoga instructor, but many of the students were novices.
Well, this was my first time actually doing yoga, so it was a lot of fun, especially to do it in the middle of New York City.
The fun lasted all day. 90-minute classes went on until 8:30 in the evening.
It was going to be impossible, and then in the end I just felt great, like I belonged here.
In addition to a new sense of peace and well-being, yogis walk away with goodie bags, including mats and snacks from vendors. Renee Askew, Brooklyn College News.
It's great to see so many people enjoying a healthy, good time. That's our newscast for now. I'm Melanie Montalvo.
I'm Norhan Khalid.
And I'm Christine Alexis. See you next time.